Hello, my name is Maranda Gutierrez, and I interviewed Mr. Maupin, who is the captain of the world's biggest airline, American Airlines. First, I started off by asking Mr. Maupin how he got involved and got hired as the captain, and how leadership qualities were involved to obtain this position. He started by telling me that it first starts by you becoming a co-pilot for a commuter airline. Of course, you must have all of your flying school done and then also a bachelor's in whatever field you want. He obtained a business bachelor's degree in marketing. After flight school, he went to become a commuter airline co-pilot for Piedmont. From there, he became a co-pilot for one of the main airlines, which is bigger and flies internationally throughout the country. And after he gained experience there, he became the captain of American Airlines International Jet. I asked him what he was doing at the time he became a pilot, and his education was from MTSU, where he got his BA. From there, I asked him how the roles differ from a co-pilot to a captain. He told me that a captain's job is to direct everyone else on the crew. So basically, his word is the main word, and everyone is listening to him. The co-pilot, on the other hand, his responsibilities, or her, is based on what is going to be done pre-flight. So he'll have responsibilities before the flight even takes off. I asked him also what was leadership like after 9/11. Which impacted many families as well as the mindset all over the world. He said everything stayed the same, but something that was different was that captains as well as co-pilots were actually fighting for the right to have a firearm in the cockpit, because as many people know, during 9/11, it was, I believe, box cutters. That's what started the whole thing, and if there was any weapon that they could have had, that the pilots could have had at the time, they may have been able to stop it. So a lot of pilots during the time after 9/11 felt as though it was their responsibility to protect themselves and also the rest of the crew members in the flight. I asked him also, since the mindset had changed after 9/11, if he ever thought about leaving American Airlines. And he felt as though flying was always his dream, ever since he was a little boy. He always wanted to fly. And so being there, he felt as though like he was meant to be there for a reason, and it would not scare him off whatsoever. And he also couldn't see himself doing another job. He said that that was his job, his dream, and to be able to live his dream, quote unquote, was something that a lot of people can't say. And to always fight for your dream. I also asked him if he had ever done an emergency landing, which he responded yes several times, but one of the biggest ones that was actually got, I guess, his heart racing was there's a fire in the cockpit and stove actually that was heating a cup of coffee or a pot of coffee. It actually lit on fire. And so a lot of people were freaking out because they could see the smoke visibly from first class. And of course, everyone started to panic, and the mast dropped down, and he had to make an emergency landing and call the closest tower and tell them that they needed to do an emergency landing, that this was urgent, and because they didn't know if there was a gas leak or a lot of other things that could have happened. And so he actually landed in a field. Everyone was fine. Everyone was good. And I was wondering, well, what does one think? You know, of course, it was just a small fire at the time. But, you know, while everyone's freaking out and you're the main one, the main leader, like, what do you think? And he told me, you cannot. During those circumstances, you cannot stress about those things. That all of those little things, you need to stick to the book. You need to just stay on task and not think as much about all of the things that could happen, but just do a safe landing and go to the manual, go to the script, and kind of block out all of those inner thoughts, because they're the only things that will ever get in your way and cause harm. So after he contacted the control tower, he told me that he had to, of course, talk to his co-pilot about what was going to happen with the emergency landing, and the co-pilot actually became responsible for all of the crew, while he actually took the sole responsibility to land the plane, talk to only the control tower, and that's it. He wanted the co-pilot to delegate that responsibility of talking to everyone, and especially the lead. Anyways, so I wondered if he ever had doubt as a leader, especially after overcoming emergency landings and every other thing that gets involved while being a leader. And he told me no. I also asked him what his favorite memory was, and he actually met his wife, Leanne, when he was going to a flight, and he saw her running because she was late to one of her flights, and she was just a beginning flight attendant. And he came up to her and introduced himself, was the captain, and after that, he booked himself onto every flight that she was on, which may have seemed stalkerish, but I guess since they fell in love, I guess it was just cute. But that was, I guess, his life-altering moment, and why leadership, especially, and being a captain, became extremely worth it. Thank you for listening to my leadership interview protocol.